Oh, good.
Okay, so first thing we have to do
Yeah.
before we start is we've got to sync, so that's up to me.
Ah.
So I've got to do...
Wayne's World. And 5, 4, 3.
Welcome to today's podcast. Today my guest is Brooke Supple. And Brooke and I have known each other for a while. And she's had a very interesting and varied career to this point in time. And today we're going to talk about where she started and how the decisions that she's made has got her to where she is today.
Yes.
For the good and the bad.
Exactly.
It's all a learning experience. And I guess in a big way that's what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
It's about the learning experience and how the decisions that we've made have affected the path that we're on.
Absolutely.
Everybody's path is different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes the things we think are bad decisions aren't necessarily the bad decisions.
Absolutely.
They lead you down a path and you never know because you can't go back in time and change things. It's that sliding doors moment where one thing could happen, but
That is so true. Because I was actually going to use that reference today.
Oh, were you?
Sliding doors. It really is.
Okay. What got you started playing music?
I think as a kid, like I was very much immersed in music and because my parents obviously loved music. So it was that Michael Jackson era. Loved Michael Jackson and obviously Madonna came out. But then I'd always watch musical sort of films. So I was obsessed with Sound of Music. I think I watched it every weekend.
Oh, really?
But because it was VHS, the whole movie couldn't fit on the VHS. So honestly, I reckon from the age, of 4 to 15, I never knew the end. Because I never saw it. So I loved it. I just loved the whole, the entertainment. And then I went to like the Johnny Young talent time school.
Really? I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I know. But I didn't last very long because I kind of got bored of just skipping around.
So when you say you didn't last very long, was that your decision?
That was my decision.
Not theirs. They didn't say, Brooke, we think you're better off going somewhere.
Yeah, I know, right? Actually, I think Mum was pretty surprised. But I think even at that time, I would come home and like, we're not really doing enough. It was just, I just remember it was just a lot of skipping and I'm like, come on, where's the real stuff? You know, like Tina Marina did and Danny Minogue and all that. I think I was pretty impatient.
Uh-huh.
I think I just wanted, to be a star in a week, not...
Give me that overnight success.
Yeah, overnight, exactly. And honestly, I think it's rolled on to everything, every aspect of my life. I just want things to happen... Quickly.
Well...
And... Yeah, so I feel I'm patient in a lot of aspects, but then not very patient.
Well, you've managed to stick with it.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So do you remember the first time you ever performed in front of people?
Yes. Yes, I do. But, what do you mean?
No, I just mean performed in front of people. I don't necessarily mean someone paid you money to do a gig.
How embarrassing. Well, okay, so again, I think I was that annoying kid that my first sort of recollection is it was a birthday party of mine and Mum and Dad got a clown in to perform for the birthday party, but I remember sitting him down going, right, you sit at my turn, and then I put on Thriller and then, I think it was Beat It. And I was in the position at the start and all my friends just going, what is she doing? And then I just started doing the Beat It dance and this clown's like, well, I'm getting paid, but she can entertain them if she wants. So, and I was probably about 4 or 5, just going, my turn now.
Were your friends digging it?
Yeah, they were. They were. They was like, oh, we should have just hired the birthday girl to be the entertainment. So I reckon that's my earliest recollection.
You started gigging fairly young.
Yeah, I did. And
what got you from that early, I want to be a performer, to like, obviously you stuck, that was something that carried on through. It wasn't just a passing phase. What got you to the point where you were on stage gigging?
Unbeknownst again to my family, I replied to an advertisement in the paper. So this is when, so we're from Sydney originally, and then we moved up to Ballina, Lennox Head area, and I think it was the Northern Star, and there was this advertisement in the paper and they were looking for a lead vocalist for a band who had been signed up to an English recording label.
Wow. And
the label had Robbie Williams before he went to take that. So, I mean, that's how, back it went. Kind of like having a Spice Girl before they were...
Sounds a little bit suspect.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that. So I've gone for this advertisement and scored the audition. It was in Lismore, I think, and so I had to sort of tell Mum, oh, can you drive me to this audition? She's like, what have you done? I said, oh, it's just for this band. And I had the tape, so I had to learn a couple of songs, obviously, before you got there. And it was out of me and this other lady, and they actually wanted me, but I think, God, at that stage, I was, 16 or 17. They said, well, you're too young, but we'd like to sign you for a artist development sort of deal, and which was huge. So obviously, you've got stars in your eyes, like, oh my God, this is amazing. And Mum, being as enthusiastic as she was, put me in the paper and before we even signed anything, and then realised as this fax sort of came through of this contract, and you couldn't really read it, and it was all a little bit, like you said, a bit
dodgy.
So I thought, oh, maybe we won't go for that. So I was at this crossroads, I think, it was a sliding doors moment, because at that stage in my life, I was prepared to finish school and to either go into acting or do Bachelor of Media Communication, because my sister was already in TV at that stage.
Because your sister does...
Well, she's a publicist.
Okay.
For in television. So I was either going to do Bachelor of Media Communication in that, or do acting and music. Or completely the other way and be a national park ranger, because I love the outdoors and marine biology and all this stuff. So I was at this crossroads, and I think because I went for that audition and because they sort of fluffed the feathers a bit, I went, oh yeah, I can do this. And so, Mum's going, oh, all right, well, let's put a band around you and see how you go and if you want to continue doing it. So I think because of that, that's why I sort of led down the music path. Mm-hmm. And hence we put this band together, and it was all guys from the Northern Rivers, and we had to do all the photos, the cheesy shots, and I started.
So you were a 16-year-old at this point?
Yeah, I think I was 17. 17.
And the other guys that you had around you, what were they?
Yeah, they were way older. Well, I mean, now when we look back, it's like they wasn't that old. But comparatively...
Not as old as...
Well, even when we met, I think...
I just want to think how old I was when we met. Older. I was older. Yeah. Still am.
I think, we did our first gig together, I was 20. I was 20, I reckon, or 2021, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing you doing gigs around with Dean Fuller and Faz.
Monster guitarist, great.
And they're great musos.
Yeah, I know.
So you had a good band.
Yeah, I feel
So
pretty
you
grateful.
managed to actually put something together that was quite a happening thing.
Yeah, it was. Although sometimes I think, you sort of look back on things and go, I wasn't very good. But I recently got some footage from Brunswick Hotel put to a USB, and I was watching it on my laptop, and I kind of went, there were a lot of aspects of the gig where I was like, well, this is actually okay.
You'd probably be your own worst critic too.
Yeah, we all are, definitely. Yeah.
I've met people who aren't.
But I still think at that stage, being 17, it was, and I don't know if you can relate
when
to
I was
this.
17, I was pretty fresh off the boat, as you know.
Yeah.
I was green. I had. I mean, there was some raw
green.
talent there, but like very raw and
Very raw.
very unrefined.
But I still think in those early stages, we all are driven by ego. Like, there's a lot of ego there. Mm-hmm. And again, I think because they pump up the tyres, you think you can do anything. And I think now on reflection, I go, oh, God.
When you're that young, you would more tend to believe your own press.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Was your own press driven by your mum?
Yeah, well, I mean, she's my biggest fan. She's my biggest fan.
She's very much a go-getter type person.
Oh, and you know what? I will give her credit because she managed to secure something like 250 venues. Because obviously it was just before we had all the digital systems. So I remember, like the little Referdex and the book with all these venues and the contacts. And I mean, we were straight in. I got the support for the Angels on their East Coast leg of their tour. So for a 17-year-old to just be straight in doing that, and I owe her a lot, for that, because...
So you got a lot of good experience when you were young.
Really good experience, really great gigs, actually. And obviously some not so great.
At that point, were you playing just covers or was there some original material there?
Well, we went out, doing covers, but then I was writing as well, because I started writing like at school. Mm-hmm. And then I was also writing with my bass player, Rob. So we recorded like a few things, and so we had it on tape.
Did you write from the point of view of thinking about lyrics first, or did you write music first and then think about lyrics after, or or did it vary from song to song?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because a really good friend of mine, he's a brilliant poet and writer, Mick. So he was giving me a lot of like his stuff. So, and Rob as well. So I try and have the lyrics and then come up with some sort of melody that would fit with that, I think. And obviously being a teenager, there's a lot of angst. And it's a lot about, why doesn't that guy like me?
So I'm just trying to think at that age because Alanis Morissette must have been close to being around that point in time.
I was obsessed with Alanis.
Which is a lot of that angst.
Oh, wasn't it? She was very anti-men. And it was, but that was huge, wasn't it? Because I don't think...
Well, that was a huge album, Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was massive.
I think on the age that you were, that would have had quite a big influence.
Absolutely. But I never came across any artists that sort of wrote like that. Mm-hmm. Or even structurally, didn't you find that even though it was pop music, it was still very...
It was quirky.
It was quirky.
It was different, and that's what stood out, and that's one of the reasons why it worked so well for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that artists that really do make it on the world stage in a big way, do you really think that is because they have something completely unique to offer?
I do, although I feel the more we've been immersed in the industry, obviously there's a lot to do with, I think people can relate. If someone can relate to it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, especially in the country scene now, as if it's relatable and people go, oh yeah.
That someone has the right song for the right time, whether it's the political climate or the social climate or...
Absolutely. Although I can't really say that about WAP. Or anything that you kind of go, oh, what's that about? But for sure. I mean, again, this is from a personal point of view.
You've got to look at the era of the 60s and people like Bob Dylan and the political movement and the songs that came out about Vietnam War and all those sort of things. They were of their time and sung, and people like Jimi Hendrix, who stood out because it was different from everything else, but it was of the time as well.
Yeah.
Whereas if he came along today, maybe would not fit in because of the time that they came along. It's like the Beatles came along at a time. I mean, they were unique and different.
Yeah.
But they were of their time.
They were of their time, and I'm actually just going to add to that though. It's also, I don't know, and again, I don't want to feel like this older demographic now looking back going, back in my day, but there was so much melody.
Yes.
There was melody, and the lyric content just, it blows my mind. And I think that also just gets you. I mean, you think, okay, now here we are saying, oh, it is about the time and the referencing to where we're at in life. But then you look at a song that's catchy, that you just think, what the hell are those lyrics?
Well,
that have
even the Beatles had songs like that.
Yeah, or especially during the submarine days. You go, what?
They had songs that were amazing musically and lyrically, and then they had stuff that was very simple, just simple, catchy pop.
Yeah, and I think, I've always been a pop girl at heart. So the melody...
Melody is king?
Is king,
Okay. Just a quick interruption to say thank you for watching the podcast. Please hit the subscribe button. It's very early days for us and we're trying to grow things, and you can help. Please share, hit the subscribe button. It makes a massive difference. Thank you very much. You've been touring and you're playing with these young guys around Lismore and Ballina and the northern New South Wales.
Yeah.
And you've done a couple of tours with some big name acts.
Oh yeah, like Doc Neeson and...
So that was 17, 18, 19, then so 20 and then you met me.
Yeah, so funnily enough, I had to take time off because it just got so much. I was gigging so much. I burnt out like big time, and I had to take actually some time off because I was really struggling. And I think I went, to the UK, came back, and I actually remember exactly where I was. I was in Coolangatta and I got the phone call from you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember the day, and you're like, hi, I got your number from Faz or someone. He's, it's got a bunch of gigs if you're interested. I was like, oh yeah, because I just came back. And I think our first gig was Ballad RSL. And I had to learn a bunch of Shania Twain songs, because again, that was when she just exploded. Wow. Yeah. So. Was in this band? Yeah.
Was it me and Wazza and...
Well, the first gig we did was a duo, but then you said, oh, can you come to, it was a place in Surfers? Not Billy's, the other one, where you and Damo and Waz were playing as Bizarre Gardening Accidents.
The Rosen Crown?
Rosen Crown.
Oh, the Rosen Crown.
Yeah, so you said, can you come up to the Rosen Crown to watch the band? And I'm looking at this band, you're wearing overalls, and there's like a lawnmower hanging suspended from the ceiling.
We had body parts, and, the microphone stands, we stuck them to the ceiling. And
yeah, it was awesome. So you were the Bizarre Gardening Accident.
Yeah, because we were trying to do something different and be a bit unique.
And it was great. And the Rosen Crown, went off. And I remember going there. I was like, oh, hi, I'm Brooke. And you said, oh, would you like to can come and sing a song. And again, we were just talking about Alanis. At that stage, he went, oh yeah, I can sing Alanis. And I remember Wazza, he didn't even say hello or anything, he went, Alanis won't work here. I went, oh hi, I'm Brooke. So he wasn't
He's a lovely man, but he could be very negative at times.
An aggressive first, greeting. So I was like, oh, okay. But we did, you ought to know. And yeah, obviously Barnard.
He was a monster bass player.
Yeah, and I think it stemmed from there. And then I think that's when, you and I, we decided to, I think Billy's Beach House was the big one.
Yeah, because we had a residency there.
Yeah.
And we also had a residency at the Rosen Crown. But that was, when we did the Rosen Crown, I think that band started out as being a three-piece with the three boys.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a bloke's band, playing all the blokey stuff.
It was very blokey.
And then at some point we decided that we needed to have a female singer.
Yeah, Billy's, and then we went to Sugar Shack.
Yeah, that's right, we did too.
Yeah.
And we had a good run there for many years, strangely enough.
I know, it was
And that was playing covers, but I do remember you were still writing songs at the time.
Yeah. So you recorded probably my first proper album.
Yeah.
And I think that was like 2002? Something like that.
Your memory's better than mine. I'd have to look that up. But that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And
we did a couple of gigs playing those songs.
Oh, it was great. I absolutely loved it. And I loved the whole, obviously it's a different experience, isn't it, in a studio?
Oh, very different. And the great thing about it was I played drums.
Yeah.
We had a little working scenario that we
really
managed to keep
nice.
together doing that.
Mates come and play on different parts. It was really cool. And it was nice to kind of get more of a feel of a studio as well. I think that's pretty important.
There was a point in time that came where you decided that you didn't want to be a part of the band anymore.
Yes, but that wasn't personally.
No, I know.
It was because I think
Do you want to talk about the reasons why? Or we don't need
to. Actually, it's absolutely fine. But then, you know what the number one reason was? We were gigging 5 nights a week.
We were very popular. It was a damn good band.
It was a great band, and funnily enough, yesterday I saw, someone who would always see us in Toowoomba. So, but the thing is, it was 5 nights, and we were travelling to Toowoomba a lot, doing all this. And I think as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old at the time, I was just feeling a bit overwhelmed, and it was just getting to a point where I actually remember I broke down in the car park of Parkwood Tavern.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and was like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I just literally said, I don't know if I want to sing Christina Aguilera, 5 nights a week. I just need it. So I think it was at the time when Jules and a lot of our friends had just moved to London.
Okay.
And they were on the phone going, you got to get over here. It's amazing. Like, just change it up.
Yeah.
While we're young, get a visa, passport, do that. So I think in the back of my mind, obviously my partner at the time, Jimmy and he was going, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll come with you. And just decided, let's completely break away from Oz for a bit. While we can, we're young, let's go over there and experience the world and what musical life is over there. So I think that, in 2004, March 2004, packed up and moved to the other side of the world. Still like this little, deer in the headlights.
So how did you make things happen for yourself in the UK?
So as soon as I landed, I was just, right, you had the big book, the industry book, just ring everyone and just apply to everything. And I think for the first time we had to get jobs, because it's like, we just can't land and pick up work straight away. Although, funnily enough, we walked the first time to Portobello, so Portobello Road, Portobello Markets, and I think we got a gig that weekend just by going into a bar. So yeah, it was really, it was such an amazing experience, but it was hard. It was hard work because obviously you're fresh off the boat.
A keyboard player that I had previously worked with
Yeah.
in a band, a young Tim Sponder, he had an agency in the UK.
Yes.
And so you ended up hooking up with an...
That's right. And I remember that because it actually saved my life, because I remember calling him, going, Scotty's given me a number. And it was live music management. And they had all the Walkabouts.
Yes.
Yeah, so that chain of pubs around, and I think there were about 52 pubs in the UK of these Walkabouts, and obviously they had other venues, but that helped a lot. So we just kind of got into that scene because there's so many expats over there doing that scene, you know, and they've all gone off and done other things as well. But you had to, a bit like here, you know, you still do your cover gigs for your rent, and then they had other projects. But I owe a lot to Tim and his team. That they were brilliant. So yeah, I still had to keep like a job at Selfridges, and then play some Walkabouts on the weekends. And
you did that for a while.
Yeah.
You also then managed to score a couple of really prestigious type of gigs.
Yes,
Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I can. But I want to say, for those who, I know there's still some people that bag, you know, doing covers. And the thing is, I wouldn't have got those prestigious gigs if I wasn't doing the cover scene. And those people that linked me with those gigs were actually themselves doing the cover scene. Mm-hmm. So it was similar to the Walkabouts, like called the Redback. It's no more, but it was fairly, very Antipodean, loose venue. I said loose. And there were guys playing there. Tom Edwards, for example, he was the MD for Adam Ant. So he's there playing Mr. Brightside. We're all there playing Mr. Brightside. And then out of those guys, Dave Ruffy, who drummed for Sinead, and they just saw me and said, oh, we're putting this show together, and we'd love for you to be in the house band. So I'm like, oh, okay, sure, where is it? And it was like Shepherd's Bush Empire, so a 2,000 pax venue. And it was a Kirsty MacColl tribute concert. And being Aussie, I'm like, okay, Kirsty MacColl, quick, let's look into this. And I couldn't believe how many songs she wrote for other people. And we put this band together, and all these famous artists came up to sing one of her songs. And that's how I met everyone. So like Andrea Corr from The Cause.
Yes.
Ellie Goulding, Amy McDonald, Billy Bragg. And I'm doing all these backing vocals and guitar for these people. And it was so much fun. I mean, trying to emulate like Billy Bragg's voice. That was hilarious. Like, it was just great. So from that, it became a domino effect. So I got a call from John Reynolds, who was Sinead O'Connor's ex-husband and producer. And he said, oh, you've been recommended from that gig. Can you come and work for Andrea Corr? And I'm like, oh, let me just check my diary. I'm going, sure. And so I got the gig with Andrea. And that lasted about a year because she fell pregnant, and she did, want a family for quite a long time. So that was wonderful news, and it was great. She was a crack. Oh man, she was awesome. Man, they know how to drink.
Well, they're Irish.
Yeah, exactly. She once said to me, for an Australian, you don't drink that much. Jesus, I was pouring out shots into pot plants. I was going, thank you. Awesome. But yeah, she was incredible. So John said, right, Brookie, I used you as a guinea pig for that one because now we're going to go to the big guns. Do you want to come and work with Sinead. I was like, hell yes. Yes, I do. Again, like, let me just check the diary. Yeah, and so I got the gig with Sinead after that. And this all started at age 32. So, yeah, we did so much up until that point, and then we're on the road, and we played some incredible venues.
You went to Russia.
Yeah, you were in Moscow, and that was an experience.
And
a lot of vodka there.
To South America.
Yes, to Chile. Played at like Vienna Opera House. Went to America, like New York, Chicago. It was just, it was pretty surreal.
Came to Australia.
Came to Australia. You came along
I came
to
along.
the one in Brizzy. Played the Opera House. I mean,
Wow.
there's little bucket list things. And I still just wanted to keep, grounded, and I'm just this little Aussie on board with all these Irish people. And
Because I remember you were telling me Robbie McIntyre was playing guitar.
oh, Robbie McIntosh. Yes.
Robbie McIntosh.
Robbie McIntosh.
Sorry, got the name wrong.
Yes, he phenomenal guitarist, and I was so embarrassed because I'm here going, oh, hi, just which fret do I put the capo on?
Because Robbie McIntosh played with John Mayer.
Oh yeah, John Mayer, Eric Clapton, and it's just here's me going, how do I play this G chord? He was so lovely. He's so lovely, and even now, I'm sure if I went back and visited and like said, oh, where are you gigging? Like, he's still gigging. So, but again, they're still doing like a lot of.
Just for the people watching.
Oh.
Brookie displays the fact that she doesn't know what chords are.
No.
But she has an amazing ear. And she can play all the chords. She just doesn't know what they're called.
Oh, I have no idea.
But she can play them, and she knows all of the majors, minors, diminished, augmented, sevenths, major sevenths. You know them all. You just don't know what they're called.
Maybe. No, I have no idea. And especially when you put a capo on a fret, I go, oh, it's on, like I say with you, oh, it's on the third and just play a C. I'm like, that's not, it's not the chord, but anyway. And that's what I found. I actually struggled a bit, learning Sinead stuff because that's...
So it's musically a little bit more intricate.
Yeah, and I had to learn my way. It's a bit odd, yeah.
But it obviously worked.
Yeah, hopefully. Although I don't want to look back on everything. And that was what's tricky, because I felt the more intimate gigs, everyone's, like the hardcore fans, they're there going, what were they playing? What's she singing? Like, but when you're in a festival, I swear to God, there was like 70,000 people, and you'd think you'd be scared shitless and you walk out. But I actually felt more comfortable because I'm like, oh, thank God no one's watching what I'm doing. Or they're not really, there for that specific gig. They're just there for the festival vibe. So,
So you felt a bit insecure about your part in the whole thing?
yeah, and I still do. Even when I'm gigging with you, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this, right? But somehow I've got away with it for years.
Brookie has an amazing ear. She really does.
Oh, thank you.
Well, if you didn't, you
Pity
wouldn't be
it's
able to...
blocked today. But so I think I just got through that way, and I enjoyed mimicking accents and things like that, and inflections on so I really enjoyed it. It was I feel so blessed to be a part of that.
Yeah, because there was moments where you would do, was it Sinead and just you and
Claire?
and Claire, and used to just the three of you.
Oh, that
singing
yeah! In This Heart a cappella, it was. I would get goosebumps sometimes, and you're in these old theatres, Venice. You're in these places, in these opera theatres, and singing a cappella, and it's just, you couldn't hear a pin drop. It was really amazing moments like that I just felt, I'm just like, thank you, whoever's up there. Thank you for this experience, I think.
What were the big moments of, say, doing a Sinead O'Connor concert? Was Nothing Compares to You, was that a big moment? Or was there other parts of the show that were...
The funny thing is, here in Australia and possibly America and some other countries, that was the big hit.
Yes.
People will recognise her for
That
the
song.
Prince song, Nothing Compares to You. However, in Europe, she had a back catalogue of songs, so everyone knew her albums and material, you know, stemming back from that early 90s. So I actually don't necessarily think that that was the big one for me. It was sometimes towards the end of each show, she would just sing with Graham on keys and finish the night that way. And we would all stand, you know, to the side of the stage, and I felt that was epic. I mean, you saw...
She had something very special going on.
Oh, absolutely. And she's just this force of nature. And that's what I feel, so grateful to be a part of and work with someone that had that presence on stage like that. Yeah, that sometimes you can't necessarily get from a record, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
It's amazing that she had such a big presence because she was quite a small person.
I know. And, you know, I'm an ASSP, so Australian short-statured person. And she was smaller than me. So I'm 5'5", so I reckon she's probably like 5'2", 5'3". Just this little thing, but pocket rocket.
Big voice.
Oh.
Big personality.
Amazing. Oh, I remember poor Ristard and that, like and the sound guys, and she'd just be so intense. Like, oh God, everything's peaking, you know. Condense them. Yeah. So, yeah, she was incredible. So I feel very honoured.
There was a point in time that came along where you decided that you were going to move back to Australia.
Yes.
So what brought,
after 14 years.
What brought that about?
Well, it disbanded, as I knew it would. Nothing lasts forever, and it was a wonderful few years and wonderful time. But as it disbanded, I ended up getting sort of bits and pieces in the Maldives, which was idyllic. So I ended up doing a few contracts there. But then I just found myself still in London and just doing the cover scene, and I thought, I don't know now, fast forward 14 years, if I want to continue just existing here, because it was getting pretty expensive. I mean, it is here now, but I just thought I could probably do this now back home, and I probably owe it to my family and friends to just come home and start a new chapter. I just kind of felt, nearly 15 years of being away. Like most of my adulthood was there, and I thought, I think now's the time to just, it was just a sign, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I moved back, and thanks for keeping my stuff for so long in this space.
Welcome to the Brooke Supple storage shed.
Sorry, it was. It literally was. So, but I'm glad I did. But it took a long time to sort of, I think, find my feet, and because when you're away that long.
Coming home, you would have at least been coming home with a certain amount of self-confidence that you could do anything that you really wanted to when you got back here. Yeah,
and then you go, oh no, I better do that restaurant gig, because I've got this. Now I've got another car, and I've got a new rental, and so then you just have to pick up what you can, and fast forward 5 years now, and I think you and I were discussing this last week about just got to implement that power of no.
Yeah.
Now
there's a lot of work around, but a lot of the work is work where people don't necessarily have very much respect for what you do, and that's reflected by the amount of money they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
At some point, you just got to say, no, I'm not prepared to do that anymore. And then, but that which hopefully allows space for something better to come along.
That's right. And again, going back to my days of Sound of Music, where she says, where one door closes, you know, someone opens a window. And, and I think that's what we have to just trust. And I think trust is the biggest, it's scary.
It is scary. You've got to have a certain amount of self-confidence and self-belief. But it's also, I think, you need to get off your bum and go out and go and get it for yourself too, rather than sitting back and relying on other people to do things for you.
Very true, very true. And especially these days. It's so different to when, oh God, well, even when you first started, it's just
I was very lucky
much.
when I first started. And you were part of it. Like I said, we were gigging 5-6 nights a week, every week.
Yeah.
We had lots and lots of work.
Yeah.
It was easy to book that work, and the money was quite good.
It's the same now. It's the same money. But back then it
20 years later.
we did, and it was easy.
It was easy. It is much more difficult now. There is still a lot of work out there, but it's. I think one of the things that that's different now is there are a lot less venues.
Yeah.
People don't go out to see live music as much as they did back 20 years ago. There are more things now competing for people's attention.
Well, for sure. There's so much, because of the digital age, there's so much more content, and there's Netflix, and there's other media and forms of entertainment, whereas I think where you and I were starting, it was only...
There are more than just forms of entertainment. It's how do people socially connect? Because when we were young, people would socially connect by coming to the venue to meet up with your friends, watch it was a shared experience to go and see live music. It was a shared experience.
Absolutely,
now people share experiences in very different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't even go out to a venue to pick up a...
I know, right?
No, it's just swipe left, swipe right.
On your couch at home. And it's easy. But we've still got friends that we met at those venues and those times. And even these days, I just think to myself, people are just seriously connecting relationship-wise, as you just said, at home, or even if they've got, a good system at home, they're just watching things at home or watching the live gigs that you can now stream. It's just...
There are a lot more festivals around now.
Yeah, that's good.
And people do seem to go to festivals, although just recently, since COVID, there seems to be a lot of festivals being cancelled.
Yeah.
So that's even that whole going out to to see a festival, to see a large amount of touring bands all in one place in one time, that's changing as well.
It is changing, but I have a feeling, I think we just went too much the other way, post-COVID. I think all of a sudden we went, right, we've been stuck inside, let's just do everything at once. And people are like, well, hang on, this festival's on this weekend, another one's on at the same weekend. I actually think there's too much kind of going on where we need to space it out
and they're
a bit.
expensive.
And they're expensive.
So people obviously can't afford to go to them all.
No.
Or can they? I can't.
Yeah, if they do, I want to know how they're...
The local Gold Coast Council puts on Blues on Broadbeach.
Yeah, that's
And they do
great.
a big country festival,
The Groundwater.
And they also do, there's a Bleach Festival coming up very, very shortly.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're invested in certain artistic outlets for artists, musicians.
Yeah.
They've built the big facility at HOTA.
Yeah, I love
Home of the
HOTA.
Arts in Bundle Road there.
Yeah, I love it there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Because you've done a few things there.
Yeah, I did big 80s show there.
With Dicko.
Oh, that was funny. God, that was fun.
You've done very similar things to what I guess what I do and what most people who are trying to make a full-time living out of the music industry. You have to diversify. So you've diversified a fair bit.
That's actually something I wanted to bring up today, is I've also noticed the shift in our industry and how we can make a living, and you totally have to diversify as opposed to back then. but with everything. Like what you do now, you know, obviously you've got a large percentage of studio work as well as your live aspect. And I think we just honestly have to look outside the box these days and go, well, where can I place my talents and types of gigs? And even instrumentalists, like I think if you just say, right, I'm going to stick to one instrument and one thing, you have to actually branch out. I mean, I'm just personally saying, I don't know, it'd be hard for drummers at the moment. There's not many venues that got drummers. Okay, maybe that drummer could look at doing some keys or something else, you know what I mean? Like just...
It's amazing though, there are quite a lot of good drummers around. And there are quite a lot of good gigs around. If your skill level is good enough, you can get work.
That's what I think we need to reiterate to the younger generation that's coming in now, is perhaps don't just pigeonhole yourself into I actually think the more instruments you play and like learn that craft, I think the better. No, you don't agree? Well, to a good level, like not just...
I do think there is something about being specialised and being incredibly amazing at that one thing. I think the biggest thing anybody can do for themselves is educate themselves about every aspect of music, not just from a point of view of the industry, but be musically diverse.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a working knowledge of country music, a working knowledge of jazz, a working knowledge of pop, a working knowledge of rock.
Yes.
That sort of diversity.
Yeah.
I mean, and have the playing skills. Not that you're going to be the best at in all genres, but if even from the point of view of creating a great original project, if you've got all those diverse interests to draw from, it means you've got, when you want to express yourself, you've got a lot more tools in the palette.
Yeah.
More colours in the palette, more tools in the shed.
Tools, shed, colours, palette. Yeah. I agree, I really do. And that is so true. Actually, there's a really good point you raised about the genres as well. Because I feel that we can walk into any sort of situation or scenario or brief and go, yeah, we can deliver that comfortably and at a high level. Yeah. So I think that's actually really true. Because, I mean, obviously now I'm sort of immersed in country and I love it because it's non-ageist. Or is it? So then you can go to, let's do an 80s show, 70s, pop, rock, jazz, country. Yeah. Don't just go to the one. So
you came back to Australia.
Yeah.
How long were you here before COVID hit us? What did you do through COVID to not waste your time?
Yeah, but I have to be so careful what I say here. Because, look, we know people and have personally struggled so much during that time.
Oh, absolutely.
It was weird. So I have to be careful. But from my experience, I just enjoyed the downtime, to be honest. I actually treated it as long service leave. And I went, you know what? Okay, we're all in this together. We are all in the same boat now. What else can I do to fill in that time and space? So because I never really want to be defined by music, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't want to be like, this is Brooke, she's a musician. Like I enjoy other things. So I used COVID as a way to go, okay, well what else can I find out about myself? So I really got into my art. Loved that. So I'm just, but I know for people, even like yourself, you're going, what is this going to be forever? How long is this going to look like? And then you did those...
I did a whole series of
whole
live streams.
series? Yeah.
And there was a reason why I did that.
That was great.
And it was fun to do. It was a lot of work. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand or realise how much hard work that was to put that all together. And we did 33 weeks of live streaming.
You did a lot.
It was hard organising people. Because
the herding cats.
yes.
Yes.
It was like herding cats. But it was also my way of staying in touch with being able to actually play my instrument and do a performance.
Oh, yeah.
And also my way of holding a band together.
Yeah.
Because
you don't want to lose that.
Well, it takes quite a while to build up a rapport with musicians.
Yeah.
Some musicians, it just clicks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
other times, if you spend enough time together, eventually it clicks. But it is a living, breathing thing. And if you don't constantly feed it and have it happening, it's like the skill. It's like, I know with my skills, with singing, it's with playing instrument, playing guitar. If I'm not doing it constantly and regularly, you lose that skill.
Isn't that true? And it's amazing.
And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do all the live streaming, was because it gave me a reason to work at keeping that alive.
Because it's amazing how quickly it actually...
Yeah. It's not exactly the same, but in similar to being an elite athlete.
Oh, for sure. No, it's the same. If you stop doing your training, then you're not going to be as good, like physically, mentally. So I really enjoyed, that.
Because you came along and did one.
Yeah. Oh my God, my dad's obsessed. Sorry, Dad, but honestly, he'll be away.
He's great. I love your dad.
He's like the bionic man, so he's still working at, I don't know, 82, 83. And he's away at work, and then he'll just send me like a screenshot of the TV in the hotel room with chains or something, one of your things up there. I'm like, yes, Dad, okay. Watching it again.
So we were very lucky. We did a little three-piece thing with you, me, and Chris Palmer.
Chris.
And Chris came and played keyboard. I didn't realise Chris was such a great keyboard player.
Yeah, I know, right? Damn him. That's what I said.
Talented guy.
Talented guy. He's equally competent on piano as guitar. So, I really enjoyed that. It was great.
We played some original songs of Brooke's.
Yes.
Those songs, where did they come from?
Good question.
What was the one? Was it Autopilot?
Oh yeah. That was the one I was going to do today, because
I just love the song. It's a great song.
It's funny though, because at the time when I wrote it in London, and I think I'd only been living there for a year, and I'm like, oh God, now I get what Coldplay are on about. Because it's just a little bit, well, this is early Coldplay, not now when it's all rainbows and fun, but back, it was just dismal.
When it was all yellow.
It was all yellow, but it was all grey. It was just grey every day. But that's why I thought, that'd be great to move over there, because then I won't be distracted by the beach and by our lifestyle we have here. So that's all you could do, was over there, it's another shitty grey day, let's just be in a studio or be at home and write music. So I wrote this song, Automatic Pilot, because that's just how I felt at the time, being in this alien country and just going, what am I doing and where do I want to go? And then fast forward to COVID, and I thought, oh my God, it's got like a whole new meaning now, because we're all on automatic pilot during this bizarre time in our lives. So it's funny how you write a song in a different frame of mind and a different.
And it has different
Time.
applications and
Yeah.
and it relates to different.
And then now I can relate to that time where we're all going, when is this over? Although I was.
Do you want to just play us a part of the song?
All right. Oh, hang on. Have you got your weird tuning?
No.
Is that a concert?
Yes, it is.
Is it?
I've just for you.
It
I've
is
made
not.
sure it's all set
is
up.
It really?
Yes, it is. Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, that one's in concert.
Okay, because you know I don't like the.
I know you don't like my funny tunings.
No, a floody thing. All right. Oh, okay. Well, maybe because it's the first song of the day, I'll take it down a key. Am I feeling lucky? Maybe I will do in the original key. I'll have to take this off. I can't play with. Oh, it is lovely and in tune. This is a nice guitar.
It is a nice guitar.
Can I borrow it? Okay. When you live each day just like the last, don't need to tell me. When your dreams are slipping fast, the days are long and the nights are cold. The wind can change direction just to bring on a cloudy day. And I'm feeling so much older. All impatience is my only virtue now. Well, it's alright, yeah, it's okay. I'm on automatic pilot today, and I feel alive, and I feel so strange. Don't need no systematic science to change. Can I stop now?
Yeah, why not?
Well, just a little taster. Taster.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Thank you very much.
So that's a little taste of that song, and yeah, so I now feel like it's got a whole different meaning because of that time we all spent.
You now do gigs with Adam Brand.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and what? And is there any other things happening on that front?
Yeah. So again, amazingly, just through doing like the cover gigs and people that you meet. Maddie Cornell, I think he'd moved up from Sydney, so a great friend and incredible bass player, and he worked with Baby Animals, and we met at Currumbin RSL, and he just sort of like said, "Oh, get you this sort of work and this type of thing," and gigging around, and then he said, "Oh, Brandy, I think Brandy just wants a female now, like in the band, and you're going to meet him, and we'll do a rehearsal, and I think you're in." And so I suggested, well, why don't we, the next Tamworth gig he does, I'll just learn the stuff and I'll jump up, and if he likes it, no hard feelings if he doesn't want that. It's a pretty different dynamic when it's all blokes, as you said before. But yeah, so we did Tamworth, and yeah, the rest was history. He's like, "Oh, this is awesome." So so we've been playing. I've been playing in the band now probably like 2 years, and there's like a lot of festivals and rodeos, but the country music scene, like the fans are so loyal. Like the loyalty it's so different to the pop rock scene. They'll be there with bells, boots, hats on. They love it. And they've been so loyal to him, obviously throughout the years of his career. But yeah, I've only sort of been in that scene for a couple of years, but I really like it. Yeah, it's great. And then the boys now, obviously they've got some work with Lee.
With Lee Kernaghan.
Yeah, so And you just, it's nice. I love meeting everyone around the traps. We're going to do something soon. I think there's a gig where we've got James Blundell on it as well. But then I've got these other gigs where I just played solo at some, I don't know, I should be on the front cover of Horse and Hound, seriously. I'm doing all these like,
Horse and Hound.
the greyhounds, and then it's harness racing or just horse racing in general. Gambling, I guess, is where the money is. And I recently did a gig where it's screaming jets and baby animals and that sort of thing. So it's quite funny that you then go, all right, we're going to do dirt track cowboys 1 week.
The variety.
Again, the variety and diversity. But Brandy's awesome to work for. And he's such a lovely guy, and he's very generous, really generous guy. So I'm enjoying that road.
How do you find people treat you being a woman in the music industry? Do you think that they treat men differently to women? Do you find, have you found that there's been any, shall we say, sexual harassment or anything like that? How has that been for you, and how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, I think definitely in the earlier
When you were young?
Yeah. And I mean, look at what I wore. That was ridiculous. Why was I wearing all those glittered crop tops and stuff? What an idiot.
Well, you were young.
I was young. I had the stomach for it. But so much now. I definitely felt that maybe in the younger years. But I don't know. I think because society in general has shifted so much, and now it's all about more about equality, isn't it? Now we're seeing more female artists than ever before. Mm-hmm. And I find it's probably easier now than what it was then.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was all the male-fronted bands and especially in business-wise.
Australia has actually had quite a lot of strong female artists.
The vinyls and it's just, yeah.
Lucky in that sort of way.
Because they're strong women. But again, I think in business sense too, because you're business savvy, and I still feel, though, I actually will add to that when you're a woman in business, sometimes that can be...
Get taken advantage of from a business point of view.
Yeah, and then I feel if you speak your mind and say something, oh, well, then she's a bitch. I'm like, well, no, we're just trying to be professional, and so I think more so in that sense than the live aspect, more business-wise, for sure.
So we're getting back to it's time to say no.
Power of no.
The power of no.
No, how about no? Yeah, so that has been difficult.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about was goal setting. I guess this relates to from a business point of view and trying to work out and map out a career.
Yeah.
Have you actually set goals for yourself in order to achieve some of the things that you've done, or has it just been a case of happenstance and things have happened as you've gone along? Do you actually set goals, or are there things that you would like to achieve that you haven't done yet?
Oh, well, we all want to play Wembley. But, but I just go, oh, well, done Glastonbury. No, I think these days, the older we're getting, it's more about quality over quantity. So those are the goals I set. And again, just picking and choosing that's right for you. But look, not to sound too airy-fairy, but a lot of it has been a lot of manifestation, because I'm such a believer in that.
Okay.
And I have sat, with my thoughts, I've done some meditation and that, and I just envisaged the plan of what I wanted, and no word of a lie, when I came home, I actually said, right, I want a gig where again, I'm not the front person. I'm just in an act or in a collective where we're doing pretty high-end gigs consistently, but not...
Not 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
Scotty,
yeah.
we don't want to do that again.
Scotty don't. And I manifested that. So I just want to gig with maybe a high-profile artist in a band, and then that's when I got the Adam Brand gig. So I really believe in that, having that sort of mental vision board. Mm-hmm. And look, there's going to be some people that are like, oh, whatever, that doesn't work. I'm just saying that worked for me.
It's worked for other people in other industries.
Other industries,
it does work.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of people that advocate, for that. And so my goals are probably, working less for more.
It's a good goal to have.
At the moment. But I think I have achieved, on the other side of the coin, it's honestly been right place, right time. But I know you personally, we have both put in the hours, we've put in the work.
I'm still putting in the hours.
I know.
But I love it. I mean, it's one of those things. I generally love doing the work that I do. There are some things, I mean, you can't... Yeah. There are things about it that you would go, I don't really want to do that.
Totally. That was probably last weekend.
I try to have a long-term view of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I have to come back to, well, I don't want to be just in this monotonous workspace behind a desk. Like, we are pretty lucky.
Yes.
We can do what we do. But you have to put in the work. But I mean, we deserve it.
How do you find, having done so much travelling?
So much.
Well, you still do quite a lot.
I know. I'm on the Indian Pacific this week. Across the
and you're getting married very soon.
Oh my God, don't remind me. It's coming up so soon.
And you're hardly even here.
That's probably why it works.
Poor man.
He reintroduces himself every time I come back. Yes.
How have you found maintaining relationships with friends?
Yeah, that's
and more serious side of relationships. And relationships with people who... Because I think it's easier to have relationships with people who are in the same industry, who are doing similar things. Because they get it. Because they're going through the same thing that you're going through, to some degree.
They do, exactly. Look, they do get it, and that's a majority of my life was spent with...
But you have lots of really good friends that are outside of the industry.
Yes, and I think, again, it's so important. You know how I said to you before, I don't want to be defined by music. Mm-hmm. I don't really hang out with musicians anymore, and I don't know even if... maybe it is by choice and the way life's led me. But yeah, I do have friends that are either in IT or hospitality or something completely different. Or I think that's the key. You just can't be
the key to a well-balanced life.
It really is, though. And even in relationships, as we know, I think in my 30s went, you know what, I'm not going to date another musician. It's just they're either too much like me or... Because, I mean, like you said, it can be great because they get it, but it can also be detrimental. Mm-hmm. Because that's all you have, and especially if in our industry, again, as you know, some people have really addictive personalities, and it swings and you're going, whoa. So I feel lucky, you know, even when the way that I met Tim, he truly understands what I do, and I was so upfront at the beginning. I said, look, most of the weekends I'm away doing this, and, you know, are you going to be okay with that? And it's just finding that right balance.
Yep.
The right balance with friendships and intimate relationships. But I must admit, it's been hard because you want to connect more with your friends. But again, I think if they just understand what you do, and obviously we're on social media these days anyway, so But I
not the
prefer
same.
just picking up the phone or meeting in person, going, all right. Like what we did like last week. Okay, I've got time. Let's have a coffee. Let's
catch up and
I think it's
talk face to face.
Yeah, it's important.
There's nothing like that face to face connection.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's easy to stay in touch with people via social media or via phone or text, but it's not the same.
No,
it's not the same.
And I swear to God, after this wedding, I'm reining it in. I just want to see more people face to face, as opposed to just being that person that's on, entertaining. I just want to.
Because it is a very different thing too. If you're out working, because it is. It's like you have to try and push all of the dramas and other things that are happening in your life to one side and be happy and an entertainer in the moment.
Yeah. And the hardest ones are the weddings that you play at. I mean, imagine like if you're not on that day, it's like that's the biggest day of their life. So you have to be, all right, this is great. Yeah, it's hard. It can be draining. And sometimes I'm just like that little, crab that I am. I just want to be at home with a blanket.
When she says crab, it's because she's a cancer.
Not other medical term there. And I feel I can be very introverted, but when you're out there, you've got to be on and...
Do you think that you are an introvert or more of an extrovert? How would you describe yourself?
My family would probably disagree, but I think I am...
An introvert?
Yeah, but I know when, I know that I can be sociable and I feel that I'm good with people. So that's a plus with what we do.
So I think if you're an extrovert goes in that situation and finds that quite energising.
Yeah, whereas
an introvert, there are definitely performers who are very extroverted, who crave that attention.
They love it. They need it. Soak it up. Whereas I feel, again, it's about balance. And if I do too much of that, I'm completely depleted.
Do you think that...
For my friends, for my partner, for my family, I'm depleted. So I need...
Do you think that's why when we were gigging together and we were doing 5, 6 nights every week for long periods of time?
Oh, yeah.
That's why you just needed to go, okay, I can't do this anymore? It was just too much?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know how you did it. Because even at, 22, 23, I was physically and mentally exhausted. And my friends were like, we know not to phone you before midday because you're not up. You're not up yet. And I'm like, I don't know if
we worked late nights though too.
It was late.
Yeah.
4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. So it is about balance. And honestly, I'm actually really good at being on my own as well. I love my own company. I'm good being on my own.
Yeah.
On my own company. And so if there are days where I've just got to take myself to a park or the beach and that, I can do that and I don't feel like I don't feel alone. Mm-hmm. And perhaps again, with what we do, we kind of get that fix. Then we can...
Come back into the world and reintegrate.
Yeah.
Gonna unplug.
That's so true. Yeah, so that's very good point.
Good point.
Good question.
Good question.
There, Scotty.
If you were starting out from scratch again, and we're going to wind back the clock. We're not going to wind back the clock. We're going to say, right here and now in today's climate, you're now an 18-year-old again. What would you do differently, or what would you do now?
Well, firstly, and I know, this is on me, but I actually feel now my only regret was I started too young.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I was so green. I mean, I was a naive girl anyway. And to be, I just feel if you're 18 and to be thrown into that world, there's as you know, there's a lot of dark sides.
Your mum was quite involved in your early career.
She was, and I actually think back and go, well, perhaps it's a good thing that she was there, Well, I mean, she had to be because I was underage and couldn't get into the venues. But it was almost like that safety blanket. And you're around older people, and you're around alcohol and drugs and dark times. And I just think for someone that's just fresh out of school, it was a little bit, I think it was too much. So I think if I look back at and told my 18-year-old self, I'd say, finish school. Either, you don't necessarily have to go to university these days, but have just that year's break after school. Also get the business side of it down as well. Yeah. Have a really good network of people around you and those you can trust, and that can bring you up to a level. And I mean, luckily I've never done drugs, and I'm not a very good drinker, as Andrea Corr pointed out. So yeah, I think if you can just really stay grounded and maybe start a bit older.
It's an interesting thought, because the strangest of things is that some people who end up being quite successful start from when they're actually quite young. But I guess they always seem to have, hopefully, good people around them to guide them and help them on the way.
That's the key.
That's the key?
That's the key. And unfortunately, I had to break away from, as you know, a lot of negative people and not the right people around me. And that's why I had to take some time off. And I feel if you just have a really good, solid network. And obviously start young with your craft and where you want to be and with your songwriting, but I just felt that I immersed myself straight into being on the road. And when you're on the road at an age where you get all that stuff like glandular fever and chickenpox, I was just like constantly sick, and it's tough. It's so tough. And I don't think people that are, you know, all that starry-eyed, I want to be Lizzo or someone like that, you know, Dua Lipa, they don't realise the hard yards.
What do you do now, and what did you do back then to look after your health? Because I know that you exercise regularly.
Yeah. No, I'm loving it. Well, especially more at the moment for wedge shed. But and that's so important. It is so important. Your health, and again, you know this is the number one factor of keeping your body fit and active for the live work.
Absolutely.
And even for singing, you know, like with your lung capacity and that. And I just feel diet, so important. So important. I mean, when we're at the Sugar Shack, I had a few, you know, McDonald's burgers under my belt before we went on stage. I'm like, oh, that's not great. No. Maybe post-gig. But so I think it's very important, health and exercise, because you start noticing your joints and everything kind of going. And
I guess it's that thing, when you're young, you don't think about that as much, because when you're in your 20s, you feel like you're bulletproof.
We're invincible,
We're
right?
invincible.
We are invincible.
Then you get into your later 30s and into the 40s, and you find out that all those things that you did don't work very well for your body anymore.
No. Red Bull. We lived on that stuff.
We did for a while.
I think I had one. Recently I bought one because I had to get through this wedding, and I honestly was there at the counter and went, I'm going back to 2001. It just like looked at me. But yeah, it is stuff like that.
It doesn't help when you have an unlimited drink account. And that, I think a lot of those things have gone away. Most of the gigs that we play now, there is no such thing as a drink rider.
No.
Whereas back when we were doing stuff, 90s, early 2000s, even I was doing stuff back even before then, particularly when we had the residency at the Shack, it was an unlimited drink account, and that was part of the deal. And
yeah,
it's very easy to fall into that trap. of drinking too much, particularly when it doesn't cost. It's not costing you any money.
Yeah.
It's there free, and it's encouraged. Get people in, give them drinks, and have a good time. It's all a party. Every night's a party.
Yeah.
And after a while of 5 or 6 nights of every night's a party,
Oh, yeah.
it does catch up with you.
It did. And but you're right. Maybe it doesn't necessarily apply today because I don't feel the venues are that generous, probably because they can't. It's tough times at the moment. They've got to sort of rein it in with budgets and things, and they can't just go, all right, here's
The venues are run
50
very
drinks
differently
for-
now too.
Yeah.
Back then, venues were individually owned to a large part, whereas now corporate entities own most venues.
Yeah.
And because they're owned by corporate entities, bar managers don't have the ability to give things away.
Yeah.
They have to be everything has to be accounted for, and everything has to be very accountable.
For sure.
Whereas
cash, not here. No cash.
no cash. That's one of the other things that's changing.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of changes in the industry, one of the big changes that's about quite upon us now is the introduction of AI. Have you had any interactions with it or any thoughts about where things are going when it comes to AI?
I just think about RoboCop and Terminator and all those films and I go, I don't want that to happen. I get really scared by it, and probably because I just don't know enough about it. AI freaks me out a bit, especially when they just do the Beatles, new Beatles tracks with. But I am not against artists taking a bed of a track or something of another song and recreating something great. Like, remember Madonna did with the ABBA track, Rihanna used a Michael Jackson, Wanna Be Started something. Like, I'll go, yeah, I like that. I'll give him that. But when it comes to a completely artificial...
So if they reimagine the song, I guess when you say you're not against that, is if they reimagine the song using real musicians.
Yeah. But,
I guess it's one of those things, musicians, drummers were probably one of the first lot of musicians to encounter the I've been replaced by a machine.
Maroon 5. They were a band, and then all of a sudden he was stuck in a payphone, and you're like listening to this, sort of going, hang on, that's not songs for Jane, what's happening? So yeah, it does happen. But I mean, some bands can be very clever though and move with the times. U2, Coldplay, who I mentioned before, they know how to move with generations and musically. So but poor drummers, they do.
I would argue that a good drummer is...
hard to find?
No, I think there are plenty of good drummers out there, and if you can find someone who plays really well, they will generally be able to provide something in a much quicker, more meaningful and better for the music type recording, rather than relying on a machine. And if it is done by a machine, I think if it's programmed by an actual drummer, as opposed to the guitar player or the singer going, I guess a good example of that was if you go to Joe Satriani's Always With Me, Always With You.
Yes.
It's a drum machine, but the drum machine was programmed by Simon Phillips.
Ah, you do like that song, don't you?
Yeah. But I think a great drummer can bring something to a recording that a machine obviously wouldn't think to do.
Oh, yeah. But there are those programs online, you've used them, where there actually are drummers and you can use the...
There are different drummers who've set up, they record a whole bunch of different grooves and think, I like that groove. I guess that's a different way of a drummer using the technology to be able to still...
That's right.
Still sell their craft, use
and
their craft.
I love that. I think I've even used that with some of my recordings because it is like sort of the way that he's done rim shot or that snare roll or something about the cymbals, and you still think, okay, well, someone's actually recorded that into the program. They are a player. They've done it that way.
It's real.
It's real.
It's not mechanical.
Could you imagine Carter Beauford doing that? Just be all over the show. Oh God, too much.
I guess the big thing with AI now is that you can actually, you can actually reproduce that groove as well. It's a dangerous path.
It is.
It's a slippery slope.
Do you reckon I don't even know if I could use, I mean, I'm so untechnical, as you know, and if I don't even know chords.
Look, I've had people come into the studio and they're like, seriously not musicians. And the guys come in and said, I don't know anything about music and recording, but I've produced this song. And
okay, well then here's my question.
It's just you enter a prompt. You say, I'd like the song to be about a holiday that I had in Hawaii. Can you put some Hawaiian music with it?
Well, here's my question to you. Why do you think people are doing that, or in your circumstance presenting these AI tracks to you? Why are they?
Possibly because in the couple that I've had, because they wanted to make changes and they didn't know how to get the AI to produce something similar with the changes that they wanted, or because there was something about the track they liked, and maybe there was something they didn't like, and they wanted to edit the part they didn't like.
No. Sorry. I should have worded that better. I don't mean that. I mean if these people aren't musicians. So in society, if you're not a musician, but you've got this AI track, what is behind that? If they're not musicians, what do they want to do with the songs and the tracks?
Well,
is it a money?
Possibly.
Thing?
It could be all sorts of reasons. It could be
Mum's birthday, I want to propose.
Could be any of those things. Could be any of those things. It could be I went on a holiday, I've got a whole bunch of photos, I want to have some theme music and play it.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the background of
why. It's that thing. It's like I think everybody likes to think of themselves as being creative.
Yeah.
It's like the concept of calling a DJ a musician. And I guess there are DJs who you would say, well, that guy crafted that song and there was a creative process, therefore he has the right, as opposed to that guy who was a DJ and he pressed a button, and you really can't call that a very much of a creative process.
Yeah.
And it would be the same. I think people are interested in AI and interested in experimenting.
Yeah.
And to see what the creative process, it's like, I gave it this prompt and it came back and I wrote a song.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't, but... Yeah. And this is the fine line between what is being creative and what is not creative. What do you call... My take on AI is there's no way we can avoid it. It's going to happen. I guess the biggest issue is going to be how, if you're a musician, you just have to rise above it. You have to be able to have something that's unique to offer. And the other thing that AI, at this point, can't go out and do live gigs. And and I do still think there is something to be said about live interaction with a live audience.
Yeah.
There is something that you get from that you just don't get from sitting and looking at a screen and it's that personal connection.
It's so interesting.
I went through a period where I had people in my ear going, oh, you got to get into John Mayer. He's so good. I don't understand why you don't like him. It's like, what? And I was like, I'd listen to the stuff and I'd be like,
I love the Mayer.
And then I went and actually saw John Mayer play live. When I know it was the first time he came to Brisbane.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw him play live and I was just like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it until I actually was there live watching and listening to the songs in that live perspective. And then when I went back to listen to the recordings, it's like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah. But imagine if John Mayer, AI, John Mayer, was a hologram, listen, would you still get the same?
I don't know. I really honestly don't know. That's an interesting thought.
Maybe that's the way it's all going to go. I mean, they've already done it with ABBA as holograms, so yeah. So at least you got to see him in the flesh.
Yeah. Although, you know, I've seen other musicians in the flesh that I revered.
Yeah, I wish we
And
had.
then saw them in the flesh and went to a concert and went, yeah, it didn't really do it for me.
No.
So,
Yeah, I'll put my hand up to that too.
all right. Well, it's been a marvellous chat.
It has been lovely.
Hopefully there's some wonderful information in there that people
Yeah, I
out there
hope so.
can glean some...
What not to do and what to do.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Brookie.
Thanks, Scotty.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this podcast. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one. And it's bye for now.